Vacations turn into nightmares. How Saskatchewan residents stranded in Mexico are coping amid the unrest. Breaking ground on a major project in Saskatoon, the boost it could provide to the mining industry. And assessing your risk for heart disease and stroke, what Canadians need to know that could save their life.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a wave of violence across Mexico after the killing of cartel kingpin El Mencho by military forces. Global Affairs is telling Canadians in Mexico to exercise a high degree of caution and avoid travel to Puerto Vallarta, along with other states that include popular destinations like Acapulco and Mazatlan. Mike Lucacher reports.
Amanecimos sin ningún bloqueo en ninguna de las carreteras.
In an attempt to reassure people in her country, Mexico's president said all highway blockades have been cleared and practically all activity is back to normal. Claudia Sheinbaum told media a national command center has been established to coordinate security operations.
Gobierno, hay Fuerzas Armadas.
There is coordination between the armed forces, security cabinet, and government authorities to safeguard people, she says. Now, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister is most concerned for the more than 26,000 Canadians registered in Mexico, and she's being reassured by her Mexican counterpart.
In my conversation with Foreign Minister de la Fuente last evening, he indicated that the situation should stabilize in the coming days.
In the meantime, Anand says officials are on the ground and in Ottawa already helping affected Canadians.
We have received 440 calls. 3 of those calls involve consular cases. 2 of those are injuries that are non-life threatening.
There's also concern over when airlines can resume normal operations after a number of flights into Mexico were canceled. Air Canada is urging all customers in the Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta areas to remain at their hotel or current accommodations until further notice. WestJet canceled 20 additional flights to and from Puerto Vallarta on Monday, while Porter Airlines has canceled a total of 3 round-trip flights, adding, because this situation is evolving, we are monitoring it and will consider further policy and schedule updates as needed. This includes determining when flights can safely restart. Asked if Canada was preparing to organize repatriation flights for the thousands of Canadians who are in Mexico, Anita Anand said that is not something the federal government was considering at this time. Mike Lecuiter, CTV News, Ottawa.
Saskatchewan residents are among the more than 26,000 Canadians registered in Mexico caught in the cartel crackdown. Stacey Hines spoke to some who are hoping for calm.
A vacation in paradise quickly turned chaotic for Montgomery and Marissa Lewis.
The air was really, really thick with all the smoke that was going on.
This was the view from their Puerto Vallarta resort Sunday morning. The Saskatoon couple was just heading out for breakfast when they saw what was unfolding across the city. Cars and buildings burning and major roadways blocked.
One of the vehicles that was burned was only a block away from the resort that we were at, so we could see it quite clearly.
Your Morning Saskatchewan's Mike Siona is also in Puerto Vallarta.
Kind of a little bit surreal, when you can see the smoke and you hear the news reports.
The violence followed a military operation targeting one of Mexico's most powerful groups, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, with Mexican forces killing its leader, a man known as El Mencho. Global Affairs Canada updated its travel advisory for Mexico, urging Canadians in affected areas to exercise a high degree of caution and monitor local guidance. Montgomery Lewis says while the situation appears to have de-escalated, tensions remain high.
And as far as we know, there doesn't seem to be any imminent danger, but you can definitely kind of feel the nervousness and feel the tension with the people at the resort.
Siona says the beach is noticeably quieter.
Probably could count only about 50 people in my line of sight, where before it would have been, hundreds, if not thousands of people on the beach by this time in the morning.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says she's been in contact with her Mexican counterpart and was told the situation is expected to stabilize in the coming days. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
With the civil unrest in Mexico, many flights to the country leaving from Saskatchewan were grounded today. Jacob Carr on what airport authorities and airlines are saying to affected travelers whose trips are being postponed.
For those looking to trade the Saskatchewan snow for some Mexico sun on Monday, they were out of luck. Both WestJet and Air Canada canceling all flights out of the Regina and Saskatoon airports to Puerto Vallarta due to civil unrest in that region of the country. The Regina Airport Authority says they are no stranger to all sorts of reasons for flight disruptions and are recommending customers check in with their airline.
To the customer, the impact's identical. It's a cancellation or delay of their flight. So what I'll say is it's very important that when these issues occur, regardless of what they are, to check with your airline to see if they have any change to their schedule policy.
WestJet canceled 2 direct flights to Puerto Vallarta on Monday, one from Regina and one from Saskatoon. On their website, the airline says they have extended their flexible change policy for affected Mexican destinations to February 25th and for travelers to check their flight status before arriving at the airport. Air Canada also stating that all flights to Puerto Vallarta on Monday were canceled and that they are monitoring the ongoing situation in Mexico with customer safety at the forefront of their concerns. For the Travel Health Insurance Association of Canada, an unpredictable disruption like this is the perfect example of why having travel insurance is important for flyers.
Making sure that they're helping individuals understand what some of their options are, as well as being there to support them from a financial perspective if there are costs that are non-refundable and they need to otherwise be paid out of pocket.
The Regina Airport Authority says there are currently departures scheduled to Puerto Vallarta on Thursday and Saturday, but the status of those flights won't be known until closer to those dates. The authority encouraged those currently in Mexico to also check with their airline's policy about reimbursement for an extended stay in the country. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Well, Jeff, while we wait on a bit of a warm-up this week, there's some snow falling today.
There is some snow falling right now. Yes, it started falling around just a little after 3 this afternoon, and it's not intense, but it's certainly, significant. We'll say that because there's a little bit of blowing around there, and so we've got ourselves some visibility issues. But the bottom line is that system continues to move eastward. It is a clipper system, so we do expect it to be out of certainly the Saskatoon region. I would say about an hour, a little more. There may be some lingering flurries, but ultimately we've got ourselves, in terms of a forecast, temperatures are going to be going up and down as we make our way towards the weekend and into next week, and we'll talk about that bit of a roller coaster ride later on.
The province's mining industry will be seeing a new tool this year thanks to a multi-million-dollar project that will soon begin construction in Saskatoon. Hallie Mandrick has the story.
1, 2, 3.
Ground has officially been broken on Saskatchewan's latest major infrastructure project.
Saskatchewan is actually the largest potash producing province in the world. So for us, making cutting machines for underground mining, and potash is one of the commodities that is soft enough that you can cut it instead of using drill and blast. It's the right and perfect place for our business to be here.
Sandvik Mining and Rock Technology is investing $51 million into a mechanical cutting, parts and services facility intended to support Saskatchewan's mining industry with a focus on potash. While Sandvik is paying for the facility, the company will be working with both the provincial and federal governments to create the capacity for specialized training.
We'll have a training development centre inside the new building, and our aim is to educate the new miners on the new technology, like you can see behind me, which is very, very technical and specialised, and it will need extra curriculum training on that. And that's why we want to partner with some of the colleges, the local colleges in the community as well.
The 51,000 square foot facility will be built on a 155-acre site in the North Marquis industrial area. While Sandvik is a multinational company, Corcoran says it's focused on keeping this project local amid frequently changing tariffs imposed by the United States.
So it's not our intent to be trying to bring in products from the US and get tariffs. We think tariffs will probably be there for a long time, even after the current administration's gone. So we need to build that capacity inside the country as much as we can.
with Valent adding that Saskatchewan's potash industry is expected to continue growing in spite of international trade restrictions.
This is the biggest deposit in the world, in Saskatchewan. The other big areas at the where potash exists is actually Belarus and Russia, but they are facing a lot of export restrictions on that product. So this is a very good opportunity for Canada to step up production.
The building is expected to be completed by the end of this year. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The province has big plans for SaskPower to help ease the planned transition to nuclear power. Kina Sorokon now on Saskatchewan's power strategy.
The provincial government is announcing its latest plans for Saskatchewan's energy future, with billions of dollars worth of projects to transform Saskatchewan's electrical grid over the coming decades.
What we are doing is a fundamental change in how we are looking at some of those decisions, building for the future, not just building for the next project.
The Strengthening Saskatchewan's Grid plan is targeting close to $3 billion of upgrades for Saskatchewan's power grid, built along 3 long-term goals. The first is connecting the northern and southern power grids. They're currently on 2 separate systems, and sending power up north involves routing it through Manitoba first. Wildfires this past summer burned power lines and tripped off northern interconnects, forcing the province to consider attaching the grids.
I wouldn't say that was necessarily the impetus, but that definitely was brought to light some of the challenges.
That will cost about $700 million and support the development of mining and other projects in the far north. Harrison says $2 billion will be needed to expand interconnections on the eastern and western borders of the province to more easily buy or sell power with Manitoba and Alberta. Saskatchewan has kept the lights on for Alberta during cold snaps this winter, and the ability to offer that more often could become an economic strength.
I think we are coming to a point where really the ability of economies to grow is going to be measured as much by their ability to put power onto grids and move it as by anything else.
The third part of the plan is stretching kilometers of transmission lines across the province to bridge the gap to nuclear generation.
Our province is growing, and we need to ensure that our power system continues to support that growth and demand for electricity.
Given the province's geographic location, Harrison says how much power the province can put online both within and outside our borders will be vital moving forward. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
3 people have been arrested after 2 people were held against their will in their apartment. Police were called to the 200 block of 2nd Avenue North just after midnight yesterday. One of the victims told police she was smoking outside the building when 3 people she did not know forced her to go back inside and into her suite. She says once she was in her apartment, she and her roommate were confined to a room. The suspects then robbed the suite and stole the victim's vehicle. It was found nearby, which the suspects getting into a cab. The cab was then pulled over, and 2 women and a man are charged with several offenses, including kidnapping, unlawful confinement, break and enter, and robbery. Authorities are looking for an inmate who escaped from Saskatchewan Penitentiary in Prince Albert. The Correctional Service of Canada says Keaston Custer escaped while being transported by staff on Friday. The 30-year-old is serving a 10-year sentence for manslaughter, among other charges. Anyone who knows where Keaston Custer is should contact police as soon as possible. What one Saskatoon man thought was heartburn turned out to be heart disease. Tonight, he's sharing his story as a new report suggests many Canadians don't know their own risk.
What Cliff Marchuk thought was heartburn turned into a triple bypass surgery at 66 years old.
I find it quite surreal, because I've been an active guy, and I'm not the most fittest person, but I was at the gym and I worked and I was lots of walking and things like that. And we tried to follow a relatively good diet at home. I don't smoke, so this really caught me off guard.
According to a new report from the Heart and Stroke Foundation, only half of Canadians say they understand the warning signs. Yet 9 in 10 people have at least one risk factor for heart disease or stroke. Those risks include smoking, poor diet, stress, lack of sleep, and not enough physical activity.
And another trend that I'll highlight that's of concern across Canada and here in Saskatchewan is the high rates of vaping among youth. We know that vaping is increasing a whole new generation to nicotine addiction, and it makes it more likely that youth will eventually start smoking.
While some factors like age and genetics can't be changed, experts say 80% of premature heart disease can be prevented with lifestyle changes. Marchuk is now part of CARG, a Saskatoon group that promotes education, exercise, and community for heart patients. He hopes his story encourages others to pay attention to potential symptoms and not ignore chest pain.
Listen to your body. Okay, I had the warning signs months in advance, and I didn't listen to it. I just thought it was something that I could shrug off and keep on going.
Laurel Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A Dundurn woman is hoping her invention can help people stop scrolling on their phones and get off the couch for some exercise. Carla Shinkaruk shows us how.
In this small workshop south of Saskatoon, Rhonda Lavoie worked for the past year to develop an app to help herself and others stop scrolling on their phones so much.
I knew that I needed something to help me manage the scrolling, getting sucked into this, mostly social media.
It works like this.
So you're allowed to use your device just like you normally would. You select the apps that you want to help with. And after a set period of time, you just get an overlay on your phone that says, no, it's time for a break.
And it also promotes getting active by providing a healthy option in exchange for getting back on your phone.
So you could either just simply wait for the cool down to expire, or you can get up and go get your steps in and reduce that timer faster.
She hired an app developer to help with the idea, and 1 year later, it's up and running.
We went Google Play first, Android first, and then iOS is in the works now. So hopefully mid to end of this year, it'll be available on Apple too.
There's a free version and a pro version, which is a paid service and offers more personalization and scheduling options.
There's just over 20 people that are active users.
She admits the uptick has been slow, but she says it's been beneficial, so any glitches can be worked out fully. She's ultimately hoping to reach millions of people worldwide by offering this app, which doesn't make users feel bad for being on their phone, she says.
I like my phone. I like social media. I don't want to be punished for it. I just also don't want to get stuck in it.
She says there's also an override option for social media emergencies. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, near Dundurn.
The government of Saskatchewan is proclaiming February 22nd to 28th Telemiracle Week. A flag unveiling was held in the Legislative Building today to recognize the 50th annual Telemiracle show happening this weekend. More than $171 million has been raised since the first Telemiracle, with funds going toward medical travel and equipment for residents of Saskatchewan.
The purple and gold colors represent the original Kinsman and Connect colors that were our kin colors back in 1977 when that first show aired. So it's a very special flag and very special opportunity to be here with our government officials this morning.
The telethon will run for 22 hours from February 28th at 7 p.m. until March 1st at 5 p.m. Still to come, more accusations against former Prince Andrew, also making sense of the latest talk on tariffs. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Countries around the world are pushing back against new threats from the White House after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that most of Donald Trump's tariffs were illegal. The markets reacted today with the Dow closing down more than 800 points. CTV's Judy Trin has the latest.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
Donald Trump's use of emergency economic powers to impose tariffs has been shackled by the Supreme Court, but the White House says it will use other tools to get what it wants.
The administration remains undeterred in reshoring American factories and getting rid of these massive trade imbalances.
Trump says he'll impose new 15% global tariffs to replace the ones deemed illegal. On social media, Trump warned against playing games and threatened much higher tariffs if countries back out of trade deals. But the European Union may not ratify the agreement it signed with Trump last year.
A deal is a deal. Both sides have agreed to and indeed have a duty to honour their part of the agreement we made with the US.
In the past year, Trump's tariffs have brought in more than 240 billion Canadian dollars.
He needs to return that money, he needs to refund that money with interest. He can do that in a nanosecond.
The Supreme Court decision does not apply to tariffs that are devastating Canadian steel, aluminum, automobiles, and softwood lumber. But in the past few weeks, some Republican representatives have voted against Trump's tariffs on Canada. Ontario's premier seized the moment to highlight the shifting support.
We saw what happened in Congress. We saw what happened in the Supreme Court. The walls are closing in, I believe, on President Trump right now.
Because of CUSMA, Canadian companies will mostly be exempt from Donald Trump's latest tariff threat. The Prime Minister has yet to comment on Trump's newest threats, but he is preparing for an overseas trip. He's headed to India, Japan, and Australia later this week to promote trade. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
RCMP are investigating new threats nearly 2 weeks after the deadly mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. Several people in the community have reported being threatened, but police have not been able to verify those claims. The family of one of the children killed in the attack canceled their daughter's funeral and have been forced to leave their home because of harassment. Police say they are taking the threats seriously and have a safety plan in place. The scandal rocking the royal family deepens with new accusations about the former Prince Andrew. The fresh allegations reported by the BBC are that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor charged taxpayers for massages and travel expenses during his time as UK envoy. He served in the unpaid role from 2001 to 2011, but the position was supported by public funding for overseas trips. The king's younger brother was arrested and released last week as the investigation continues into allegations of misconduct related to emails sent to Jeffrey Epstein. The son of Hollywood filmmaker and actor Rob Reiner has pleaded not guilty to murdering his parents. Nick Reiner's attorney entered the not guilty plea to 2 counts of first-degree murder in a Los Angeles courtroom today. The acclaimed director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner were found dead in their Los Angeles home on December 14th. Nick Reiner was arrested hours later and has been held without bail. Police have not said anything about a possible motive. Just days after NASA announced their return to the moon was a go for launch, the highly anticipated trip, which will include one Canadian, has been delayed again. The space agency says the Artemis 2 mission will be grounded until at least April. Last week, a crucial fuel test was completed successfully, setting up a March launch. But the helium system malfunctioned, and now the rocket is headed back to the hangar for repairs. Once the mission is ready, Canadian Jeremy Hansen, along with 3 American astronauts, will embark on a journey around the moon designed to pave the way for a future moon landing. Almost the entire U.S. East Coast is getting hammered by a massive winter storm. The winter storm warnings stretch from northern Maine all the way down to North Carolina. Parts of the country have been buried by over half a meter of snow. More than 5,000 flights have been canceled and hundreds of thousands of people are without power.
The creator of Suitcase Stories, my comedy with Burnt Ticket Theater this week. Come see my real-life tale of faith, survival, and self-discovery. My Suitcase Stories. February 25th to March 1st at Studio 914 on 20th Street. Get paid what you choose tickets at burntticket.com. -4 is a little chilly, so please, when I'm performing, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, I can assure you it won't be minus 40. It is going to be a lot warmer than that. The first performance is coming up on Wednesday, the 25th, and minus 2 for a daytime high. So that's well above seasonal. Seasonal average should be around minus 6. So warmer than seasonal temperatures for that first performance of Suitcase Stories. Cloudy conditions. Once again, for more information, you can go to burntticket.com. Now on to our current temperatures. Well, the current temperatures and sky conditions. It's still snowing in Saskatoon and in the Battlefords. Prince Albert, just cloudy skies right now, but temperatures fairly consistent. Minus 14 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, minus 15 in the Battlefords, and not particularly windy in Prince Albert. A little breezier, though, in Saskatoon and the Battlefords, and so that makes the visibility situation a little dicey. On to our almanac for today. Well, minus 13 was the daytime high for Saskatoon. Minus 6 is typical. 6 on the plus side. That was record warm temperature from 1954. The record cold temperature, a cold, a chilly, it's a nasty minus 37. That was in 1940. And the sun is going to go down at 6:35.
Coming up, why a Canadian country musician will not be performing in Saskatoon this week, and later celebrating winter with teachings from the land.
A record-setting win for a head coach. Tuesday on Your Morning Saskatchewan, we are checking in with the head coach of the Flin Flon Bombers after his 600th win behind the bench.
All right, well, check it out. So the camera obscura. We've got ourselves some snow falling, a little bit of wind out there. So, yeah, it's creating some visibility issues right now. And we are going to have to wait and see when this system moves up. We'll show you the radar and satellite shot in a second here. And so it continues to drift across, central Saskatchewan, including Saskatoon, obviously. But it's a fairly east-west progression for this storm. So taking a look at how the radar has been moving, I would suspect that the heaviest of the snow should be done within about an hour or maybe a couple of hours, but we still may have some lingering effects there. Just to recap, minus 14 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, minus 15 in the Battlefords. Still some snow in the Battlefords as well as Saskatoon. For our hotspot, look at that, 11 big degrees in Maple Creek. It's not going to be that warm tomorrow, but today, 11 degrees. Collins Bay was the cold spot at minus 36. Around the province we go. Currently, it is minus 17 in Lloydminster, 2 on the plus side in Swift Current, 3 in Moose Jaw, minus 3 in Regina and Estevan, minus 10 in Yorkton. A closer look at central Saskatchewan and parts of the northern grain belt. Temperatures ranging from minus 15 degrees in the Battlefords and Meadow Lake down to, or I should say, up to minus 10 in Wynyard. Making our way up north, temperatures do drop off, but they're not in a significant way that we would say, oh my goodness, that's a huge drop there, because it is up north. Minus 18 in Buffalo Narrows, minus 23 in Collins Bay. Everyone else sort of hanging around that minus 20 degree mark. And down south, look at the plus temperatures in the southwest. So it's been quite warm down, and the south central part of the province. It does cool off to minus 13 in Outlook, and in the corner of the southeastern corner of the province, minus 3 in Carlisle, minus 10 in Melville. Now here we go with our futurecast. So there's that system that's impacting us right now. It keeps moving very quickly into Ontario in the next 24 hours. And yes, the Great Lakes region will be expecting to feel some of this Clipper system. Another Clipper is going to show up by about Wednesday, and so it's we get a bit of a break tomorrow. Now let's take a look at tomorrow. Cloudy skies for northern Saskatchewan, and temperatures warmer than they were today. Minus 13 in Buffalo Narrows, minus 18 in Stony Rapids, close to that in Key Lake, minus 15 for La Ronge, minus 12 in Meadow Lake, minus 13 in Spiritwood, minus 8 degrees or thereabouts for Kindersley and Rosetown, minus 1 in Maple Creek. So yes, a far cry from today, but still fairly pleasant. Minus 5 in Leader, minus 12 in Outlook, Swift Current, minus 6 for a high. In southeastern Saskatchewan, temperatures in the minus double digits at minus 10, minus 15 for Yorkton. And then as we take a look at east central Saskatchewan, temperatures hovering around that minus 15 degree mark under cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. The Battleford's dropping off to 19 on the minus side tonight, minus 13 tomorrow. Still a risk of frostbite overnight into tomorrow. As we take a look at the long-range forecast, we'll look at that. Temperatures hanging around 2 degrees for Wednesday and Thursday, but then it really starts to drop off. Minus 18 on Saturday. Saturday, but bouncing back to -4 by Monday. For Prince Albert, overnight tonight, -21, about 2 to 4 centimeters of snow when all is said and done. A risk of frostbite is there overnight into tomorrow. -5 on Wednesday, a chance of some flurries, could be another 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. And then 0 degrees on Thursday, but a big drop off on Friday, -14 for a high, and then -19 on Saturday, slowly warming up, -7 by Monday. And Saskatoon, yes, still dealing with some lingering snow. It won't be as intense as it is right now. And then as we take a look at tomorrow, we've got ourselves -14 degrees, and the 7-day outlook for Saskatoon and area, well, there you go, -2 on Wednesday, +3 on Thursday, so Melt-O-Matic 5,000 there, and a windy and coolish Friday, -11 degrees, colder on Saturday, but bouncing back to -4 by Monday.
So many nights I can't remember. Maybe I played a song for you.
Well, he won't be playing this song for anyone in Canada in the next little while. American country singer Charlie Crockett has canceled his Canadian tour, including a show in Saskatoon this week. And opening for him was going to be Jake Vaughtel. And he was denied entry into the country because of an earlier issue with marijuana. But the bottom line is that he was supposed to play TCU Place in Saskatoon, and he was denied. I tried to get into Canada a couple of times in BC, but it was a 2016 felony conviction for selling marijuana in Virginia that stopped him. Crockett said in an update online that Canadian fans will be refunded for their tickets.
You might be exactly what this team needs right now. You're signing a goat?
Last week's #1 and #2 movies switched positions at the weekend box office. Animated basketball film GOAT climbed to the top spot with $17 million US in ticket sales across North America. That was more than enough to pull ahead of Wuthering Heights, which met Hollywood forecasts with $14.2 million. Faith-based film I Can Only Imagine 2 was in third place, debuting with $8 million. One of the most popular video game franchises in history is marking a major milestone. This weekend marked 40 years since the first Legend of Zelda game debuted in Japan. Since then, it's gained a massive fan base across the world over several titles, all focused around the story of a princess named Zelda, a swordsman named Link, and their efforts to protect the land of Hyrule from sinister forces. The Zelda franchise has sold more than 150 million copies over the decades, and a movie adaptation is scheduled for release in May 2027. Hyrule.
Yes, looking forward to it. All right, time for Pick of the Day.
Are you?
I'll watch it. Sure, why not? Sounds fun.
All right,
So do your picks of the day, right?
Yes, we're going to start off. We are probably going to have a sundog a day for the rest of the week. We're going to start off with this one from Jennifer Feschuk. This is a Sunday sundog from Martinsville. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for that. Our next one comes to us from Steve in the Anaheim area. Here is one of a million shots of snow last week. This snow was on the move, snow blowing. So thank you. Yes, that's an action shot there from the Anaheim area. And finally from Joyce. This is the rural Prince Albert area. So we're going to start off with this one. She wrote, I've been spending time enticing the birds to eat seeds out of my hand. I'm sending pictures of the chickadees I was able to get, but haven't had luck photographing the grosbeak. And then yesterday she wrote, that was on Saturday, and then yesterday she wrote, it's Joyce again. Today's birding experience, the pine grosbeak, almost ate out of the seeds out of my hand before she flew away. But that is a great shot there, so good for you, Joyce. Nice perseverance, and thank you for sharing those images with us. And if you would like to share an image with us, or 6, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca, and please put Pick of the Day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, Learning from the Land. We take you to an annual celebration in Saskatoon. The Kona Winter Festival returned to Wanuskewin Heritage Park on the weekend. The day-long event was an opportunity to learn more about Indigenous culture and teachings offered throughout the winter. Hallie Mandrick has the story.
In spite of frigid temperatures, visitors bundled up and explored the grounds of Wanuskewin Heritage Park to learn more about those who lived off of the land for generations.
Indigenous people lived on the Northern Plains year-round, so it doesn't matter whether it's plus 30 or minus 30, you are living out on the land, and there's a lot of things that we do for entertainment while we're out there.
Wanuskewin's Kona Winter Festival has been an annual event since 2018. Kona is a celebration of Indigenous culture and an opportunity to take in some land-based winter teachings.
Wintertime is a time for story, it's a time for gathering, and so this is the embodiment of that, right? So I think normally we kind of get in our groove, we get in our rut, and getting outside maybe not as much, and so this is a real encouragement to see what else is out there.
Those in attendance could try out dog sledding, listen to storytelling, and enjoy some bison meat smoked over a fire, in addition to many other activities. Trails, galleries, and Teepee Village were all open for visitors to explore. McDonald says the festival is about both education and entertainment.
Maybe you're not familiar with some of the ways that, as you say, that people would have survived here. It's a little chillier today, and so we do talk about that in a number of different programs that we're offering, but there's also opportunities to get out, be active, and as I say, have some fun.
Tate says she's hopeful that those who come to enjoy the festival leave with a greater appreciation for the history of the land.
It's been a gathering place for over 6,000 years. Basically, as soon as people could live in this valley, they did. And so I really hope that they take home that sense of gathering, that, again, we are all treaty people. We are all in this land together.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
When we come back, disappointment for the women's Husky basketball team. And later, the conversation Jeff had with Kim Coates over the weekend.
All right, welcome back, and we'll take a look at the rural forecast for tomorrow. So snowing right now. Looks like that system, as I mentioned earlier on, continuing to move to the east. For tomorrow, many places, most places dealing with mainly cloudy conditions and temperatures for the most part on the cold side of seasonal. Kindersley not doing too badly at -7 tomorrow, but a lot of double-digit temperatures, -12 for Meadow Lake and Lloydminster and Outlook, -16 for Melfort, Hudson Bay, -14 degrees, -16 in Wynyard. Down south, it does warm up in the southwest, but not nearly as warm as it was today, but a lot of minus single digits in the southwest and south central part of the province. Rosetown -9, not bad, but then it does cool off to temperatures in the low minus teens for other locations closer to the Manitoba border, or at least in eastern Saskatchewan. And that includes Cudworth, -14 degrees tomorrow. Looking at partly cloudy skies, winds out of the west at 15. So a little on the cool side there. And Cudworth is one of those places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
After winning 51 straight games, the winning streak for the Huskies women's basketball team is over.
The one here gets it up, and now the Calgary Dinos are through to the Canada West Finals.
It's been called one of the biggest upsets in conference history. The Calgary Dinos beat the Huskies on Saturday night, 61-58 in the Canada West semifinals. Coming into the playoffs, the Huskies had not lost a game since November of 2024. They won the national championship last season and went undefeated this regular season. Even with the loss, the Huskies could still get an at-large berth into the national tournament. Gage Grasick was named a conference first-team All-Star. Meanwhile, the Huskies men's hockey team punched their ticket to the conference semifinals in dramatic overtime.
At the point, gets it back to Kosher, stops, fires, tipped in front, rebound is there, backhand, scores!
Keaton Sorensen scored the game winner in overtime Saturday night to help the Huskies complete a sweep of Alberta in their best-of-3 quarter-final playoff series. A former Saskatoon Blade Connor Roulette had 2 goals in the series, while Nolan Meyer made 26 saves for the win. The Huskies will now travel to Vancouver this weekend for a semifinal playoff series against top-ranked UBC. Game 1 of that series goes Friday night. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders say they'll use a lottery to decide who gets the limited spaces for the first year of tailgating parties. Season ticket holders can only enter the draw this year through their online account manager or through an email that was sent by the Riders today. The deadline is just before midnight on March 5th. Those who are selected will be contacted in April. Tailgate passes for the whole season are $500. Regulations are still being worked out with the province, but approved tailgaters will be allowed to bring their own alcohol and prepare their own food. In the wake of a proposed AI data center near Regina, another rural municipality may soon allow a similar build in their area. But not everyone is pleased with the proposals. As Donovan Mace explains, petitions are circulating to shut them down.
The rural municipality of Edenwald may be opening the door to allow AI data centers within its boundaries.
Currently, our zoning bylaw does not consider data centers within the zoning bylaw. We have had an application for a zoning bylaw amendment. We do not have an application for an actual data center right now.
But this change would not mean an automatic green light for any project.
The opportunity through the discretionary use process does also allow council to put conditions on approval. So the process is a public process.
It comes shortly after a separate application in the neighboring RM of Sherwood, southeast of Regina. The applicant for that project is Bell Canada, the parent company of CTV News. Now it seeks to build a campus of interconnected low-rise data center buildings covering more than 500,000 square feet. Two petitions circulating online lay out concerns surrounding it. The larger one, which has more than 6,400 signatures, says an AI data center can seriously impact our environment and overall harm our city, while the other raises concerns on the amount of water AI data centers typically use for cooling purposes, saying discharging untreated water back into the environment could cause long-term ecological damage. Back in Edenwald, Bisdell says the proposed amendments account for these kinds of concerns, requiring future applicants to provide extensive reports of potential impacts.
We also require a water management cooling plan detailing how the facility intends to meet their cooling requirements and how any water will be used.
Even if passed, data centers will be considered as discretionary use and require final council approval before shovels go in the ground. The RM will consider the amendments at a public hearing Tuesday morning. Donovan May, CTV News, Emerald Park.
Coming up, some magic moments that are record-breaking. Then we take you to an intimate evening with a Hollywood star in Saskatoon.
Hey there, it's Derek Chesney here at the Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. This week on Crime Stoppers Unmasked, we're needing your assistance to identify a suspect in an arson that took place on 22nd Street West at the end of December of last year. On December 20th, 2025, around 8 p.m., in the 100 block of 22nd Street West, an unknown individual did purposely cause damage to a vehicle by lighting a fire in the front passenger wheel well of a car. The suspect is seen putting something in the passenger side wheel well of the car before walking northbound. Moments later, the fire is visible from the hood of the vehicle. The car sustained major damage and was deemed a total write-off. The footage shows a suspect wearing a black jacket with the hood up, khaki pants, and black shoes. Do you have information about this suspect or information about any other crime? If so, please give us a call at 1-800-222-8477, or you can leave a tip online at SaskatoonCrimeStoppers.com. You can check out our Facebook, Instagram, and our homepage for photos of the suspect and other active crimes within the city. We pay cash rewards of up to $2,000 for information that leads to an arrest. We don't want your name, we just want your assistance. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers, do your part to stop crime in our community.
Well, this magician's greatest trick is his endurance. Fado the Great has earned a Guinness record for longest magic show. He performed for 50 hours last year, breaking the previous record by 20 hours. Fado the Great is a self-taught magician who learned his craft watching online videos and practicing with a deck of cards.
Wow, that is look, just staying awake for 50 hours.
Yes, that would be hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Well, it was a special night at the Ramey Arts Center benefiting Persephone Theatre over the weekend.
That's right. It was an evening with Kim Coates. I was fortunate to be co-hosting along with one of our former colleagues, Katrin Hodgson. And we talked to Kim about his start in theater and then obviously things on the big screen and small screen, and heard some great stories. And some people got a chance to meet Kim before the show, and they got pictures and selfies and signed autographs. And some people got some unique things autographed. There's one of the jerseys from the motion picture Goon. So, yes, so some...
And it was his birthday.
And it was his birthday. And look at that. There was a cake. Heather from the artistic director at Persephone Theatre baked him a cake, and it was enjoyed by many. So there you go.
Well, happy birthday, Kim.
There you go. That's me singing happy birthday on the side there.
Quick check on the roads.
Yes, the roads. We'll take a look through the live lens of Skycam here, but it's tough to see beyond the city's downtown because we've got Circle Drive reports from our own Carla Shinkaruk was saying that Circle Drive South is in bad shape. There's cars in the ditches, and we also had reports that College Drive is not good either.
Stay safe. Thanks for watching.